Hey everyone, this is Jeremy here. Can I just get an apologies for being a few minutes late here? It's been one of those interesting days. If you could just let me know if you can all hear me. Maybe just one or two of you could either post in the question. Oh, there we go. Loud and clear. Excellent. All right, nice to see all of you. Thank you so much. Cool. So today we're going to do things just a little bit differently. And for those of you who are new to the webinars here, usually what we do is we go through a webinar, a deck that we create and all that. But today I wanted to shake things up just a little bit and go through one of our K-base articles. We have a K-base article that specifically was made for setting up a score-based quiz with multiple outcome mapping. So I think this will be a kind of a cool change of pace, just so we can all kind of get an idea of what we have out there in the K-base, the knowledge base. We've been working on making that a little bit more robust for you. And as I go through it, of course, feel free to ask any questions, and then after we go through the article, I can go ahead and answer any questions. And of course, I'm going to do some, we're going to go into the software, the application itself as well, and see you know, just how it looks in there. But I figured this will be a good place to start. So there is a YouTube video as well that we have embedded in here. And also, just let me know if any of you can't see the screen that well. So the first step, it's you would think that it kind of doesn't make sense, a little bit nonsensical, but you want to start from the end in this case. Whenever you're setting up multiple outcome mapping with scoring, you want to set up your outcomes first. So, and you will need to set up at least 2 outcomes for obvious reasons, because you know, if you're just going to have one outcome, then there's really no need to set up. Well, you get it, you right? So you need to at least do 2, and I know that there are some people who have quite a few out there, and it gets a little bit complex. But for all our intents and purposes today, we're going to keep it nice and simple, with just a few outcomes, at least in this sample right here. So this one was set up on the premise that we were trying to figure out where the participant needed to go with regard to a podcast episode. Let's say, and we have 3 different podcast interviewees. One, Shintaro Shimosawa being the film director, Tina Russick as the LA mission manager, and then Dr. Sherrod Paul, who is a geneticist out of New Zealand. Okay, so we have those 3 outcomes, and you put those together first. And once again, I will show you this in the application itself. But just to I just want to go through it really quickly here. So each of the outcomes have associated outcome pages, right? So once you do create your outcome, for instance, here, Shintaro Shimosawa, then we go ahead and edit. Once you set it up, you would do edit outcome page. And then you can customize the resulting page. So for example, I put this is a picture of his Shintaro shoes right here. And then of course a listen button, so that would take the participant, directly to that podcast episode. Now that's actually building something else, so it goes, you know, to an internal result, but still taking the participant to an external place. In this case, it would be like iTunes or Stitch or something of that nature. So now, on the other hand, you can also set it up to just automatically have the visitor go directly to an external link. Case in point, when we send out these webinar emails to you with the bucket.io surveys, you go through the survey and we redirect you to an external link, which is to the GoToWebinar link, where you fill in some information there. So then, working once again, kind of backwards from the end to the beginning, we set up our questions, right? Which one of these topics interests you the most? That's one. And then I have 3 different possible outcomes. I have science, philanthropy, and film. And of course, those are all related to the various people that the various interviewees on the podcast episode. So at the bottom of the question, we're going to click on map outcome once again, and it's going to be the same thing. Now here's the meat and potatoes of it, is where you actually start mapping the outcomes. And you're going to do this for each question. So let's say we have, if the answer is right away, question 1, which of these topics interests you the most? Science. Then we'd want to map it over to Dr. Sherrod Paul, because he's a geneticist, so that'd be the most relevant thing to, place to go to. Philanthropy, Tina Rusick, LA Mission, makes sense. Film, Shintaro Shimosawa, film director. Okay? It's just going to give you a basic idea of how even just basic, the basic mapping works. Maybe some of you or all of you know exactly what to do there, but it's always a good refresher anyway. So on the most basic level, this is some good stuff. On the most basic level, it's whichever lettered answer gets picked the most during the course of the funnel, that's what will dictate which outcome page is presented to the user. So for example, if A is chosen more than B or C, then the outcome page for Shintaro Shimosawa will be displayed. Okay, and yes, to answer your question, Lauren, I am going to go into the Bucket platform and show you all of this too. I just wanted to kind of go through this really quickly first and show you what, just give the basics here, and then we'll go in and get the meat and potatoes in the application itself. Good question though. So it's whichever letter really gets chosen the most. All right. Now you can incorporate some skip logic, which is some really cool stuff, and maybe I should just go. This one actually does. Case in point, Lauren. This one does require us to go in, and I'd like to just show you exactly how this works inside of Bucket. So, as you can see, I'm already in one of my segmentation funnels here, and if you haven't noticed, we recently, I believe it was just last night, completely revamped this the interface. There's quite a few things that have changed here. So, and I'm going to minimize my window a little bit. Just want to be able to, I can see any questions you guys have along the way. But okay. Oh, that's not good. All of a sudden, I do not see my, there we go. Okay. So first question here, now this one's going to be I changed it up a little bit, but as you can see now when you just hover, I'm not clicking on anything. When you hover just on any question, you have the chance to we have branching logic right here, right? Outcomes mapped, you can actually, this is where you're going to do the the outcome mapping on the question itself. So it is actually a little bit, the K-base needs to be updated, to be honest with you, too, at this point in time. So now check this out. So here is a little bit of skip logic action for you. So let's say right at the beginning of the funnel, let's say someone, let's say I want to know, does this person need to really answer all of my questions? Or can they go directly to, let's say, the end of the funnel? Or maybe to another question. So is science your favorite subject? Let's say if they answer yes, let's say that they don't need to go to question 2, but we can just have them go directly to question 3. Okay? So that's all skip logic is. It sounds a lot more difficult than it actually is. And then in all other cases, we can have the people just go to question 2. Follow the funnel. Or if you'd like, you can set it up to where they just jump to the end of the funnel. However, if you have them, let's say if you have them jump to the end of the funnel, then immediately it's going to be going to the letter that's highest up. So case in point, let me just show you. Let's save that. And by letter, I'm talking about the lettered outcomes. So if you have all other questions, answers that is, go to the end of the funnel, or even if you decide that with your branching logic, you know what, if they answered science, then let's have them go directly to the end of the funnel, then it automatically defaults to the first one, to A in this case, which would be fine because it's Dr. Sherrod Paul and it's, you know, science, so that makes sense. As you can see here, we have Dr. Paul, Dr. Sherrod Paul, science, and we can edit the outcome page. Okay, and of course you can, you know, this isn't exactly set up to be the most aesthetically pleasing. This is just for, you know, practical purposes to show you how this all works. But yeah, that's where they would go to. Does that, so far though, I want to get kind of a pulse on what your feelings are. Does that, the skip logic portion, does that make sense, or are there some questions around that? Feel free to, you know, post your questions in there. But let's go ahead and I'll save my changes, even though I didn't really make any changes. But let's do this. Okay, so we have 3 outcomes here, and I think we're, you know, with the yeah, we showed you that. That's pretty much the end of the K-base article anyway. So, but I would definitely bookmark that. Let's go here. Perfect. Okay, yeah, thank you for that confirmation that it's making sense to all of you. All right, so let's go back here and set up some. Let's make another outcome here, and let's say that, oh, the next person is going. I don't know, Dwayne Johnson. Let's just go full-on celebrity style here now. And the outcome page, let's create an outcome page. And once again, just remember, you always want to just start off with the outcome pages here. Have a good idea of what you want those to look like. Okay. And I'm, once again, not going to make this super exceptional, but just fill it out. Celebrity time. And I did notice that question, Mary. We're not going to go through Zapier right now with this webinar. We do have some previous webinars, though, that we can, that has some Zapier information. In fact, on our YouTube channel, I believe we have some. But that's something it's always a kind of a common request, too, so we can make sure that you can get some content there around Zapier integration. But yeah, this one would just be multiple outcome mapping at this point in time. Oh, and also at the end of the this webinar, I'll be sending out a survey for you to go through so that you can, excuse me, schedule a one-on-one with a bucket specialist. So that will be actually a really good place for you if you have any questions around your specific email service provider and working with them integrating Zapier. Then that would be a great place to do it. All right, so celebrity time. We don't need a subheadline. I'm not going to put any image here. Once again, we're just going to be super, super functional right here. And let's change this button just to iTunes. Whoops. Okay. And subbody text, we'll just get rid of that too. I will change the background just for fun. And we have that outcome. All right, so now we have 4 outcomes, but we don't have any outcomes being mapped over to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So we're going to have to do something about that just in case someone really feels like listening to an interview with the good old Rock. So let's go over and now if science is their favorite subject, probably don't need to go to the Rock, but let me see here. Still getting a little bit used to the new functionality around here too with this, but branching logic. Oh, sorry, not branching logic. Outcomes mapped. Okay, so if they say science is not their favorite subject, then I'm going to have them The no go to Dwayne Johnson. And I'm going to have the yes go to Dr. Sherrod Paul. Okay. And that one, we could set it up a little bit better, but let's go on to the next question. We could probably make that a little bit more relevant. Okay, and we'll have to, let me change that question too. Here, let's do this. So out of the following 4 people now, because we added Dwayne, who do you identify with the most? And we'll just add on Dwayne Johnson. As you can see, this is a pretty simplified way of doing it, but, you know, makes sense, right? Okay, and we'll save that. All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and go back here. And we can see here, okay, so question 2, out of the following 4 people, who do you identify with the most? If it's Steven Spielberg, we'll go, of course, to the filmmaker, Dr. Oz, Dr. Sherrod. Bill Gates, Tina Russell, because well, Bill Gates is a philanthropist too, not just known for his tech giantness. I don't think giantness is a word, but you know what I mean. And then Dwayne Johnson, of course, will be mapped to Dwayne Johnson. All right. That should make it easy to remember. Okay. Let me just try and capture some of these questions as we go. Okay, that's a really great question, Mary. What's the difference between branching logic and outcomes mapped? So when you map the outcomes, what you're doing is just if let's say you're basically making it so it's the survey itself is tallying up how many letters get chosen the most. Like if let's say the science is the main one, so each question just keeps on going science, 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 or A, Dr. Sherrod Paul, Dr. Sherrod Paul, and he's eventually going to win out. But with the branching logic, you can make it so that you can skip questions. You can go immediately to the end of the funnel. So I guess it's very similar though, so I understand why one would have the question, but this is just the kind of nitty-gritty. Let's make sure whatever answer is given, it's mapped over to the proper outcome. And then branching logic is just kind of adding that extra nuance in case you're like, nah, you know, this person, they're definitely not going to be interested in Dwayne, or if they're definitely not going to be interested in science, then why make them go through those extra steps? Why don't we just have them go directly to this answer, get them through the funnel, get the lead capture information right away? You know, it just sometimes in certain cases it makes sense to incorporate that branching logic. In fact, I'd say in a lot of circumstances, that's up to you. I hope that answers your question. If not, once again, that would be a great one-on-one question. Yeah, and Lauren, I hope that kind of what I just went through right there helped. I addressed it a bit there. If not, once again, we can go into it a little bit more in depth right there with regard to the why and the how. Yeah. Cool. Great questions, though. Seriously. That's something, you know, when I first started learning this, too, that's something that definitely came to my mind. Like, what is the difference between everything here? So, good stuff. All right. So, we have that question and answer set up. All right. And let's see. When you have extra money, what do you do with it? Go to a movie, buy an online DNA test, give to those less fortunate. So this one is interesting because we could either have go to a movie or maybe something else, or we have a new Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson available here. So let's say, I don't know, read a column about a celebrity, something like that. Okay, cool. So now let's go ahead and edit that a little bit. Oh, sorry, that's the one we just edited. Here we go. Okay, so read a column about a celebrity. Now let's go ahead and just get rid of these right here. So when you have extra money, what do you like to do with it? And this is right before, this is the last question before the end of the funnel. So go to a movie. Well, it could actually either be Dwayne Johnson or Shintaro, because he's film director versus, you know, the actor. However, this is all up to you about how you need to, you know, feel would be the best for your customers. You get to direct them. So for me, going to a movie, I'm going to say, whoops, I'm going to say going over to Shintaro, buy an online DNA test, Dr. Sherrod Paul, give to those less fortunate, Tina Russick, and then read a column about a celebrity, we'll just say Dwayne Johnson. I don't know why that's kind of funny to me. Okay. So here we go, and let's save it. Okay. So I tell you what, and I see that there's some extra questions coming in, which I'm going to get to pretty soon here, but let's go ahead and see what this looks like. And I'm not going to put in the, you all, if you have any questions about lead captures, I can go through that too, but I'm going to leave that out just for right now and just focus kind of on the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about today. Oh, whoops, copied it a lot. Okay. Supposed to here. Excellent. Okay, so here we have a welcome page with a little video. Once again, this is about which episode should you start with. So, is science my favorite subject? I'm going to go with yes. And notice we didn't go to question 2. We went immediately to question 3. So when you have extra money, what do you like to do with it? Well, let's see here. So I chose yes to science. Now they're asking me when I have extra money, what I like to do with it. Now, if I was going to continue with the science stuff, I say buy an online test. Oh, science is great. That makes sense. Let's see what else happens here. If I choose some different answers. Okay. Science my favorite subject? What if I say now, when I have extra money, I like to go to a movie? Still, science is great. Why is that? Well, let's go back and find out how we set this all up. All right, bear with me here. Okay. We had branching logic go here when you have extra money. And then we had all other cases out of the 4 people. Wait, jump to the end of the funnel. No.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Because I just like one.
So, oh yeah, in this case then, because we had, is science your favorite subject? Let's see what we're mapping to here. Dr. Sherrod Paul, otherwise, or science, okay? So in this case, as you can see, A got 1, and then let's go back here to our outcomes, and Shintaro Shimosawa, which is associated with going to a movie, that's where we mapped it, that got 1. But A being the higher letter there, it's going to win out if when there's kind of a tie there. So that gets a little bit complicated, I understand, but that's how it works. And once again, this isn't, you know, exactly the most well laid out, you know, survey with regard to multiple outcome mapping, but still hopefully gets the point across here. But let's try another iteration and see what it looks like. Just to give you an idea. Okay, here we go. Science my favorite subject? Let's say no, it's actually not. Whoa, celebrity time. So that's where, let's change that so it doesn't automatically go to that. And that's where we had our branching logic. Oh, wait a second. Oops. That's right. So if the answer was no, that's right. We set it up to go immediately there to Dwayne Johnson. Let's remove that, though. We don't want to do that anymore. That's why it immediately went to celebrity time. Okay. And start one more time. I hope this is making sense. I hope we're going down too much of a rabbit hole here, but let's say I choose no once again. Oh, what did I do there this time? I went immediately do science. Let's configure it again. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. This is actually good. If you notice, it's good to go through it and see if anything goes wrong. You can go ahead and change it up. Okay, let's actually remove. Now let's see. Yes, if the answer is yes, we'll go here. Oh wait, no. Let's get rid of that. Okay. And let's get rid of a branching logic. Perfect. Okay. Let's map the outcomes. Okay, science, your favorite subject. Let's go ahead and go to Dr. Sherrod Paul. And then if it's no, you know what, let's change this up, actually. Let's make this into more of a multiple kind of choice question here. You had to choose out of the following, which would you choose? And we'll just change this over to film. Change this over to philanthropy. Change this one over to celebrity. All right. And which was the other one? Oh yeah, and science, of course. Perfect. Okay, I like this one. I like the way it's looking better now. Perfect. Okay. Now let's map the outcomes. So if you had to choose, perfect. So film, we're going to go to Shintaro. Philanthropy, Tina Russick. Celebrity, over to Dr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't think he's a doctor, but you know. And science. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. And then branching logic. We'll get rid of that. Perfect. Okay, now we're not using branching logic. We're just going to go straight with multiple outcome mapping. And let's see how it looks. Pull that again. Oh, thank you, Mary. I see. It's good to see the problems, how to fix them. Yeah, that's a good point, too. That's a good point. Okay, so which episode should you start with? All right, now it looks very different, right? If you had to choose out of the following, which would you choose? Well, I'm going to go with philanthropy. Okay, Out of the following four people, who do I identify with the most? Steven Spielberg, Dr. Oz, Bill Gates, Dwayne Johnson. I'm going to go with Steven Spielberg. When I have extra money, what do I like to do with it? Let's say give to those less fortunate. Great choice. Oh, and well, okay, that's not very descriptive. Well, Mary, case in point. Let's see how I can fix that, because I need to know why I put just great choice. Oh, whoops. And of course, I'm okay with editing this funnel because it's only me that's doing these tests here. I believe that would be Tina Russick should have won out there. So let's see what I did. Yes, I just put great choice. Let's change that so we know what exactly why things happen. Tina Russick, great choice. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Okay. Excellent. And let's just think Dr. Who Science. We know that one. Let's check out Shimosawa's really quick here. Yeah, that one will make sense too. Perfect. Okay, save page. And let's just do kind of maybe one or two more of these outcomes and see exactly how it looks. I tell you, it's kind of fun. Once you get going with it, it's just almost like a little bit of a maze that you're creating, right? All right, which episode? You know, I wish I could have you talking too. We could just kind of go through it together and have you all pick some. So if you had to choose out of the following, which would you choose? In fact, why don't we do that? Does anyone want to type anything in there? Let's see see what we go with the first one. All right. Philanthropy. Thank you. All right. Philanthropy is first. All right. So that's a vote for Tina Russick, right? And what is the second one should we choose here? Out of the following four people, who do you identify with the most? I'll just continue on with it. Let's say Dwayne Johnson, just for fun. And that would be celebrity, right? When I have extra money, what do I like to do with it? Do I like to read a column about a celebrity? Give to those less fortunate? Buy an online DNA test? Let's go with buy an online DNA test. Notice this is going to be 3 different answers with 3 different outcomes. What is going to be the winner in this case? Science is great. Now, why did it go to science is great? Anybody know? I will show you exactly why. Because we had a 3-way tie between 3 different people. I did not mean to do that. Here we go. I understand. Like to continue. Okay, so the reason it went over directly to science or Dr. Sherrod Paul is because he's got that letter A. He's at the top there. Now, if it was, you know, let's say Tina Russick was at the top there, she would have been chosen. Or if you know, 2 out of the 3 were the philanthropy choices. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and get some. Looks like Lauren had a question here. Oh, this is a good one. Let me expand it so I can see the whole thing. Okay, if you map an outcome to an answer in question 1, does that mean they never see the other questions? So perhaps it's best to map outcomes only later in the survey, assuming you want people to answer more than one question. Okay, so to answer your question there, Lauren, no, they can definitely just go, you can have them go through all of the questions, most definitely. The only time they wouldn't is if you want to incorporate any skip logic there, and then you can have them skip certain questions that, you know, you feel like, oh, well, obviously they don't need to see these questions, and maybe you have a series of 10 questions and you're like, no, I don't want to put this person. They don't need to see all of them. They just need to go directly to this other question or to the end of the funnel. But if you just have a standard multiple outcome mapping, no branching, no skip logic involved, then you can have them go just directly straight through the funnel, and it'll tally up the score as it goes. See, whichever letter gets the most, gets chosen the most, that's the winner right there. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mary. I saw your answer there a little bit too quickly. So we have some time here. Does anybody else have any questions? I know we kind of breeze through a little bit of that, but that's really multiple outcome mapping. Put it in its kind of most basic form. There, we don't have any. It can get very intense once you start adding, a ton of different questions, a ton of like different branching logic. Gets interesting, but let's see here. We have another. I'm trying to see if I understand this correctly. So we map every question to an outcome. Then, when they answer the questions, the outcome that got the most answers is the outcome page they see. Okay, yeah, and Lauren, it's not just necessarily the page that you create. You can also have them go directly to a URL, redirect them to an external URL. So, and you don't necessarily have to map every single question over to an outcome. Oh, let me see here. Page or URL. Okay, yeah, cool, you understand that. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm definitely understanding all of the questions here. Yeah, so you're totally right. The outcome that got the most answers is definitely the outcome page or URL, for sure. Yep. And so yeah, you'll definitely want to map those questions over to the right outcomes. Otherwise, it just kind of takes away from the getting accurate results. So yeah, you'll definitely want to do that. Okay. And what about capturing a lead here? Yeah, sure. I can show you that, Mary. So let's add a lead capture here. And that's actually a good point, because we can add multiple lead captures here based on what the answer is. So let's select an outcome, and of course we're going to have 4 outcomes to choose from. We'll just go ahead and go with Dwayne Johnson. All right. Just put something quirky here. Dwayne is awesome. We'd like to send you more information about Dwayne. And of course, you can apply this in whatever way is most sensible for your business. This is just for, showing you what's going on here. Okay. My GoToWebinar stuff is getting in my way a little bit here. And then, of course, you can add body text and all that, but we'll go ahead and get rid of the other field. I don't really need it for this. Once again, kind of no frills, but we'll save it there. Let's add one more. I mean, of course, we could go down and add all 4, but let's choose another outcome if it's Shintaro Shimosawa. We can do something like, we love film directors too. We just need a bit more, let's say, some information from you to keep you updated. Something like that. Just kind of making it up as I go along here. And we'll just save it. Perfect. So let's go ahead and make sure that we get the right lead captures going here. So let's do the celebrity thing. All right, once again, we'll grab our link. Probably still have it copied. Let's see. Okay, so which episode should we start with? We want to know about celebrity. We most identify with Dwayne Johnson, most definitely. And if we have extra money, we definitely read a column about celebrities. Okay, perfect. And so we have our lead capture. Dwayne is awesome. We'd like to send you more information about Dwayne. My name is Jeremy. Just gonna punch in my email address. Please don't spam me. And then we'll go 512-111-1234. And then you get your end result here, celebrity time, and you go to whatever iTunes link or whatever you want them to be redirected to. So hopefully that kind of answered your question there, Mary. That is so cool, Lauren. So yeah, you're totally welcome, Lauren, saying that the confusion actually helped make the most sense in the end. So now I know how to fix what I'm doing wrong. You are most definitely welcome. I'm happy that I can use my own confusion to help anybody out. That's perfect. Cool. So yeah, and, let me punch in the. I have the webinar. Sorry, one-on-one notes here somewhere. Here we go. I'm just going to post this in the chat. Here we go. Just bear with me a bit. Okay, so this link right here that I just sent to everyone, you can use that to, of course, you're going to have to, you're going to be able to fill out a survey there, and then it will direct you to a form where you can select a slot for a one-on-one session with one of our bucket specialists. So, I tell you what, it's been a serious pleasure, and thank you all. I hope I answered your questions here, but once again, sign up, talk to one of our bucket specialists, and we'll help you out with anything you need more intense. And yes, you're totally welcome, and thank you all for participating. It's been a pleasure. So until next time, we'll talk to you later.